Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is a little more personal, and honestly, probably one I needed to hear myself. So, if you've been running yourself ragged lately, trying to hold everything together, trying to prove you can still do it all, this one's for you. We've been in the middle of moving, boxes everywhere, dust everywhere, half my kitchen packed, half unpacked. I've lost the scissors at least 17 times. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, I caught myself trying to move like I'm still 25 years old. Now, logically, I know better. My body has been waving little warning flags for years. Arthritis, multiple knee surgeries, psoriatic fatigue that can hit like a truck out of nowhere. Back pain that likes to remind me it exists the second I think I'm doing pretty good. But do you know what's funny? Even when your body changes, your mind still remembers who you used to be. And sometimes that creates this weird disconnect where your brain says, you should be able to do more. You should unload the whole car yourself. You should carry the heavy boxes. You should push through. You should keep going. You should finish the room tonight. And if you stop, your brain tries to convince you that resting means failing. I think a lot of us, especially women, we're taught that productivity equals worth. If we're resting, we're lazy. If we sit down, we're falling behind. If we admit we're exhausted, we're weak. And let me tell you something. That mindset will absolutely run you into the ground. The other night I was unpacking the kitchen, and I hit that point where my knees were throbbing. My back felt tight, and that deep psoriatic fatigue started creeping in. If you deal with autoimmune fatigue, you know exactly what I mean. It's not I stayed up too late, tired, it's bone tired, like your body suddenly turns the gravity up. And I still stood there arguing with myself. Just finish this cabinet. Just do one more box. You're almost done. Meanwhile, my body was basically filing a formal complaint. And eventually I sat down on the floor surrounded by random measuring cups and mason jar lids. And I realized something. Rest isn't quitting. Rest is maintenance. We understand this with literally everything else. You recharge your phone. You change the oil in your car. You sharpen knives, you let bread dough rest. But somehow, when it comes to ourselves, we act like needing rest is some kind of moral failure. It isn't. Especially when you live with chronic pain or fatigue, your body is already working overtime behind the scenes every single day. That takes energy, even on the days nobody else can see it. I think one of the hardest things for me has been accepting that I cannot operate on the same pace as people who don't deal with these things. And honestly, that's okay. I can still build a beautiful life. I can still create. I can still cook. I can still run my business. I can still dream big. I just have to do it differently. And maybe you do too. Maybe your season right now looks slower than you wanted. Maybe your body changed. Maybe your energy changed. Maybe life hit harder than expected. That does not mean your value disappeared. There's this pressure online to constantly hustle. Wake up at 5 a.m., meal prep, deep clean, film content, workout, start a side hustle, drink green juice, answer emails, organize the pantry, become a fully optimized productivity machine. Meanwhile, some of us are just trying to get through the day without needing a heating pad and ibuprofen. And honestly, that's enough. I think we also underestimate how exhausting stress is physically. Moving alone has been emotionally exhausting. Even good change is still stressful. There are decisions nonstop, things breaking, schedules changing, physical work, mental overload. And when you already live with chronic pain or fatigue, stress compounds everything. I've had moments during this move where I've looked around and thought, why am I trying to prove I can do all of this in one day? Who am I competing with? Nobody is handing out medals for unpacking fastest while inflaming your joints. And I know there are people listening right now who needed permission to slow down. So here it is. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to take breaks halfway through the dishes. You are allowed to sit down while cooking. You are allowed to order takeout sometimes. You are allowed to leave the laundry for tomorrow. You are allowed to say, my body has reached its limit today. That doesn't make you lazy. It makes you human. One thing I'm trying to learn lately is pacing. Not the exciting answer, not the glamorous answer, but the necessary one. Because every time I ignore my limits trying to push through, I end up paying for it later. Days later sometimes. The fatigue crashes harder. The inflammation flares. The pain spikes. And then instead of resting for 30 minutes, my body forces me to rest for 3 days. I'm slowly realizing that listening to my body early is actually wisdom, not weakness. And honestly, I think we need to normalize talking about this more openly. There are so many people quietly living with chronic pain, autoimmune issues, arthritis, fatigue, injuries, and still trying to show up for their families every single day. That takes strength most people never even see. You do not have to earn rest. I really want you to hear that. Rest is not a reward for finishing everything, because guess what? The list never ends. There will always be another task, another load of laundry, another email, another box. If you wait until everything is done before allowing yourself to rest, you'll never rest. So lately I've been trying to give myself more grace. Some days that means unpacking one room instead of 3. Some days it means sitting with coffee instead of forcing productivity. Some days it means admitting, I physically cannot do what I planned today. And instead of spiraling into guilt, I'm trying to replace it with compassion, because our bodies are not machines. And if yours is carrying pain, inflammation, surgeries, fatigue, stress, or chronic illness, you deserve kindness from yourself too. So if you needed a sign to slow down today, this is it. Take the break, sit down, stretch, drink some water, put the heavy box down. The world will survive if you rest for a little while. And maybe, just maybe, taking care of yourself is not getting in the way of your life. Maybe it's what allows you to keep living it. All right, friends, I think that's where I'm going to leave this one today. And if nobody has told you lately, you are doing enough, even slowly, even tired, even resting, especially resting. I'll see you next episode.